Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Major Radio. Dave here, along with my broadcast partner in crime, Matt Mastrogiovanni. Matt, how's it going tonight?
It's going well. It's going well.
Good, good. We got a couple things to recap this evening. Obviously, it's the day later than our normal podcast, but busy folks, busy lives. Mastro and I are humble brag. But we got a couple things to wrap up. The Flyers, a Western Canada road trip. Returning back home, and then some around the league stuff. But Matt will start it off, and when we actually a game that started during our last recording last Tuesday night against the Calgary Flames, which proved to be the start of kind of a dud road trip there, and it ended up being
4-game losing streak.
Yeah, not great at all. It was let's see here. A 3-1 loss to the Calgary Flames, where Matt, overall, all in all, I think we need to summarize it up very quickly as just a sloppy hockey game. The Flyers got in it, were down 2-1 at one point, and then it's just kind of, Calgary got the empty net goal, and that's how they took the lead. And overall, they could have played much, much better. We addressed the game the weekend before, that shootout loss in Vancouver, how they still played well, but you had a feeling at some point crazy travel would catch up to them. And as results lead to it, we might be thinking that this travel might have played a little bit of a hand in the game against Calgary and maybe definitely against Edmonton.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to really talk about it a lot. It was just like a rough stretch, obviously, for them. But, yeah, I mean, that loss to Calgary was just pretty ugly. And then not much different the next night against Edmonton. Obviously, McDavid makes Justin Braun look bad.
And McDavid does that to everybody he plays against. Like,
it's just it always just hurts more when it's against the Flyers. But yeah, that road trip was not fun for the Flyers, I'm sure, and for us fans as well. But that said, I mean, we can kind of put that behind us now. That Calgary game, they came out flat. I remember saying in the last podcast that one of the keys for that game was for the Flyers to score first, and then they ended up giving up the first goal, I think not even 3 minutes into the game, and then looked like they weren't even playing an NHL game for the first period, and then the wheels started to slowly turn for the latter half of the game, and then obviously it was one of those too little too lates. They ended up losing. The next night you go into Edmonton, put up a little better effort, score three goals against them, still don't look good, and then the Edmonton puts up a 6 spot on them, and then
Hart gets yanked.
Hart gets yanked. So I mean, and then just when you think things are going to be better when they come back home after that road trip, they don't start off their homestand very well either.
Well, I mean, they did score first in that Dallas game. They scored about 30 seconds into the game.
and then the next 59 and a half minutes were all Dallas, pretty much. I didn't get to watch a lot of that game. I was at a barbecue that day, but it just didn't.
Neither did I, so it was all good. I was at a haunted hayride.
The Stars were, 1-7 coming into that game?
I don't think they had even won yet.
All right, well, they were 0-7.
They were either 0-7 or 1-7.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, like, the Flyers completely, I feel like, if I had to predict how they played, I'm sure they played down to Dallas. But, I mean, Dallas is a good team, but they just obviously have taken a while to get going. But
yeah, their record does not show the team that they have in Dallas. The Stars should be a very good team this season.
Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, that game, again, not much positives to talk about. Was it Couturier scored the only goal?
Yeah, Coots got the first goal. Yeah. And in Edmonton, Voracek had a 3-point game, so at least we saw Voracek get the wheels going. Yeah, just a lackadaisical effort against Dallas, and that point the Flyers had fallen one game under NHL 500. It was a 4-game losing streak, and well, man, I'm sure you saw it all, but Flyers Twitter. I don't think I really need to say much more than that. And
Yeah,
people already given up on the season, yada yada yada. And I'm like, you guys do realize they have a new coach, which means a new system.
I mean they have new coaches, not
I
just
got
a new coach.
exactly new coaches. Even so, that means new systems to learn. You're learning
Yeah.
how to do the hockey a whole different way. Granted, they're pro athletes, so it should take not forever, but not overnight.
Uh-huh.
And they literally traveled almost the entire globe in the
Yeah.
span of like 3 weeks. Like that spells a recipe for disaster at some point. Like that's going to catch up to you. Um,
Yeah, I think it really speaks back to how scarred this fan base is in recent years with how complacent the organization has been with mediocrity and just inability to put a winning team on the ice for so long, where it's like you see these games day in and day out for so many years where you hope that these types of changes in the coaching staff and then also the players as well take effect a lot sooner. But like you just said, it takes time for them to learn these new systems with these different coaches. Vigneault's been obviously tweaking the lines a lot too, with the exception of the third line, I believe, with no second
this is
line.
the second line,
Yeah, Lindblom, Couturier, and Konechny, which
which has
has
been
been
El
red
Fuego.
hot. Yeah, so I mean, but it almost makes you wonder too, where that even that's a double-edged sword, where um, you can only do so much if you're only moving around what 9 guys. So it's like, but you don't also want to break up that line as well because they've been playing so well um, for the first few games so far. So I mean, it's definitely right of Vigneault to see where everyone fits in and how they fit in with different players on different lines. Um, and we'll get to this in a second, but I mean, we saw things click well on Monday
Yeah, for
against
sure.
Vegas, but I mean, again, it's one of those things where, and we'll see if they can transfer that game's effort to tomorrow night when they play Chicago in Chicago. Um, but one of my biggest concerns for this team, like it has been in recent years, is just consistency and ability to transfer one game's momentum into another, where it's like you play so well against Vegas, and Vegas is obviously no slouch as a team, but and then like Chicago I'd say is probably worse than Vegas. So the Flyers should be able to take that momentum from a big win against a team like Vegas going into Chicago and hopefully like kick some ass, but you never know with this team, which is like the worst part.
Yeah, and it's the Hextall PTSD. Did I say that right?
PTSD, yeah.
Yeah, I did say it right. Is real for a lot of this fan base, and people need to realize they're not here anymore. They can't hurt us anymore. We
Yeah.
have Chuck Fletcher and Lee Vigneault running the show, and when things got different and things got stale and players didn't work, well, you saw results. You saw things happen. Connor Bunnaman and Carson Chwinski, both down to the Phantoms. Chris Stewart signed. Um, and then besides, Bunnaman and Torinsky going down to the Phantoms, well, then Mikhail Vorobiev and Joel Farabee, who are arguably the Phantoms' two best players in
Yep.
the early going in the AHL season, get rewarded for their play and get called up. And it goes to show that this fan base needs to learn that this especially knowing Alain Vigneault's and Chuck Fletcher's past history, that they're not complacent men. They do things emotionally, and sometimes that can hurt a team, but a lot of the times it can benefit a team. And they proved it, and they went out there and they made moves. They dropped some kids down. They admitted that Torinsky and Bunnaman played were really good in camp, and they kind of tailed off a little bit as the NHL started. I
Mhm.
saw some people on Twitter calling it a mistake for having both of them on the team, but they earned their spot more so than
Yeah.
Farabee and Vorobiev did. But then when shit hit the fan and things got tough, you saw that Bunnaman and Torinsky couldn't really keep up the NHL level right now, and
Uh,
you saw. Well, I mean, everyone's seen what Vorobiev and Farabee had been doing with the Phantoms, so they got rewarded and they got called up.
yeah.
Under Hackstall and Hextall, we wouldn't be seeing Vorobiev and Farabee. We wouldn't have seen Torinsky and Bunnaman.
Mhm.
It would have been more, bottom six-esque types. It wouldn't have been the kids who have earned a spot to get called up. So you get called up. They make some changes, which include a big one that got criticized online, which doesn't make much sense to me because maybe he's not the center he once used to be. But you move, the captain Claude Giroux back to center ice for that game against Vegas Golden Knights, and you put Jake Voracek and JVR on his wing as your top line. That's pretty good. So then you have that second line of Couturier centering Konechny and Lindblom, which has been arguably the best second line in all of hockey right now.
Uh-huh.
And that means your third line is Kevin Hayes centering Joel Farabee and Scott Laughton.
Yep.
So that makes your center depth. Let me see here. Claude Giroux, perennial all-star and the highest point getting forward in the entire league, the past 6 years now. Then Sean Couturier, who's a Selke finalist, and Kevin Hayes, who is a consistent, 50-point getter, second line center. That's Giroux 1, Couturier 2, Hayes 3, if my math is correct. And having those three at center depth, you're going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
Even if Giroux is not the same player he once was at center for a short time to see if they can fix things up, jiggle the, shake and see what waves come out and see what happens, gets players going. And then you threw Farabee on power play 1. And then power play 2 got a little bit of boost, and power play 2 has been the better power play unit. But of course, Matt, we were both in attendance at the impressive win on Monday night against the Vegas Golden Knights. You were up in Revolutionary Row, I believe.
Yeah, that place was actually pretty cool. It's kind of weird. I don't know how they got my contact, but I got an email from a Flyers ticket rep the other day about me sitting up there. So that's kind of weird, but I mean,
Maybe you talked to one years past.
Maybe, but yeah. But quick side note about the seats. It's funny because I believe they're season ticket options for the Flyers and the Sixers, and they're expensive. So basically, I didn't even respond to the email, but I did talk to a different ticket rep in the actual section, and he was telling me the pricing for everything, and I just thought to myself, I can't afford that. And the seats were cool, but it's I was expecting it to be, I guess, I don't know if this is being greedy, but with how luxurious it was, I thought that it was going to include wait service, because I got a stamp on my hand that looked like a cocktail, like a drink, but you still had to pay $13 for a beer. So, but it was cool.
Shocking.
I mean, it's cool. I got to see the Rage Room, and then that whole thing is cool. I got the tickets for $30 on StubHub. So, and I think they go for at least 50 a game. So I got a pretty good deal.
$50 online.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It's something that I've never done before because this is the first year that it's been there. But it was a good experience. It's kind of cool. It's almost like watching. So when you play NHL, the video game, you use the overhead camera view, so you can see the entire ice. It's almost like that, but in real life, which is cool because you can see everything. But the only bummer too is that I was on the skinny part of the scoreboard, so I didn't get this the full effect of how big it really was. But overall, it was cool. I mean, and obviously they won, which is a huge plus. So I can't complain.
They won. They won, Matt, and they played well. Vegas was missing a couple of guys. They're starting Oscar Dansk, not Marc-Andre Fleury. Oscar Dansk is their third string goalie. He's their starter for the Chicago Wolves.
I was going to say Malcolm Subban is their usual backup, I believe.
Yeah, Malcolm Subban usually.
One thing about that is that so all right, so I'm going to go to Spit and Chicklets here for a second because Biz made a good point about since the Knights were just coming off a shutout win in Pittsburgh, so Fleury obviously was in net for that. And I was figuring, and he even said, so credit to him for this, but he even said that he would take the Flyers because, it's a back-to-back. I don't know if the
I think
Penguins
they had
game was
one
the
night
night
off.
before. Yeah,
I think the Pittsburgh
but
game was Saturday, and then they had an off day Sunday,
like
and they
Biz
came
Nasty
to
was
Philly.
saying, like there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of emotion behind that. Obviously, with Fleury being in Pittsburgh for so long before Vegas, and then once I saw that he wasn't starting, um, I knew the Flyers had a lot better of a chance because, like you said, Dansk is the third stringer, and then like Vegas is obviously coming off that big win in Pittsburgh, so the Flyer, it was almost like what's it called? I guess right place, right time, for lack of better terms, for the Flyers, where they're coming off the 4 game losing streak, and then like you have a little bit of maybe a tired team in Vegas coming in, and they took advantage of it and put a whooping on them.
I mean, and the Flyers, they had the same amount of rest in between as Vegas did, but
Yeah,
you had the lines rejuggled. You had a hard practice. You had a day off on Sunday, then a nice little morning skate in the morning, and you had a team made of players that knows that any mistake they make, this city is gonna pounce on them just because of how the fan base is. And they came out and they said, you know what, we're gonna put it to you, and we're gonna show you, that when things go rough, we're not gonna stand for it. Now, obviously, they have to keep winning and keep playing well. It was nice for us to see because in that stretch of that 4 game losing streak the Flyers had there, they were getting tons of shots and tons of chances, and even the Vegas coach. Gallant said he's like, well, I hope they don't wake up against us because they've been getting a lot of chances, and what do you know, 6 goals happened.
yep,
So the floodgates open, and you're seeing secondary. Travis Konechny scored again. I'm looking like I'm a correct human being here when saying that he might be a 30-goal scorer this year. Just saying. But then overall, you're getting depth scoring. Provorov's Raffles technically gets 2, but then is a team guy and says, no, I only got 1, and give the other one to Provorov.
yeah, big
And
team guy.
and then you got, other all depth scoring. Like, still your top line hasn't really scored yet.
Well,
And
they officially changed that goal to Provorov's.
I know that, yeah, today. Didn't it
Yeah,
get
yeah,
announced
yeah.
today?
But that was
Um,
funny. So for those who don't know, when Raffle got interviewed post game, his like tagline next to his name when they show the graphic was like, I believe it said something like, um, 2 goals tonight, only wants credit for one,
yep.
and that went kind of viral in the hockey world, which was kind of funny because it shows just how it was funny, and then it's also like shows that Raffle is a huge team guy, and then it obviously makes it even better that the next day they officially credit that his second goal to Provorov, so he gets his wish pretty much. But that was
Mm-hmm.
funny. He scored a nice goal in that game too, Raffle. That's
Yeah.
the sixth goal on the breakaway. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Raffle, with used right in bottom 6 minutes, can be a very useful player. He's got some speed and he's got some good hands. We've seen him score 20 goals before. So he's got the scoring touch. He's just not a top 6 level player, but he can be a good bomb sixer who you can get double-digit goals from if need be.
Yep.
Um,
Chris Stewart got a point on that goal too. His first
Attaboy
as a
Stewie.
Flyer.
I mean, and even Chris Stewart, watching him play in Vegas the other, and watching his first game in person with him playing there, I know he had a big tilt against Alexiak on
Yeah.
the Stars Saturday
Yep.
night. That kind of got the Wells Fargo Center rally up. But
Yeah.
he overall, when used proper minutes, Chris Stewart, and I will admit I was heavily critical of Chris Stewart in the preseason because he looked bad.
Well, I mean, even he was. I think Vigneault even said like he looked bad in the behind the glass on
Mm-hmm.
NHL Network. Like so, like you were wondering like how long they were going to keep him around, and if they were going to sign him at any point. And then he was kind of in purgatory for like the first 3-4 games before they actually did sign him, and then he's quietly, I think, quietly made an impact in the games that he's played so far. Obviously, he made an impact somewhat on Monday with that assist on Raffles' goal, but um, he's one of those guys where he's going to fly under the radar, I think, as long as he's on the ice, unless he has a standout moment, which I'm all for if it's benefiting the team. Um, was I wrong to believe that he might have gotten in a fight with Ryan Reeves on Monday?
Man, I wanted him to go so bad.
I think that would have been an amazing fight.
I was talking to our boy Stavi. Stavi came with me there on the game, um, and we were like, man, we want Revo and Stewart to go at it because that would have been one hell of a tilt.
Yep.
I mean, I think Revo probably would have won just because he's just so much more of a bigger
Yeah.
man than Stewart, but it would have been really impressive. But Chris Stewart's the player where if you're not hearing his name, that's a good thing. That means he's doing the little things right. And
Yep.
if you are hearing his name a lot, it's bad because it's usually criticism. And then if you hear his name here and there, it's someone saying, "Hey, notice like he did this." Like if you hear it once or twice, like, "Oh, big fight, big goal."
Yep.
If you hear it a lot, it's bad, and if you don't hear it, it's good. He's a fourth line forward, 13th forward player. You know, if he just goes along, does his job well, and does it properly, like he has done so far, overall it's not gonna be bad. And notice, in Purgatory was rocking some old CCM like first gen tacks of the revamp skates, and then I noticed Monday night. Well, what do you know? He's got the brand new CCM Super Tacks with Bauer Took holders and steel on them. I'm like, yep, that man got himself a contract, and the team bought him a nice pair of skates. So new wheels for Stewart in that game. But overall, a nice impressive win in front of seemed a very light home crowd, Matt, at first. I mean, granted, it's a Monday night after a 4-game losing streak, playing Vegas. A lot of people think, oh, this team's probably going to lose because the attitude was very negative going into Monday night's game. But I noticed as the game went on, the crowd got definitely more full. And towards the end of the game, it was almost a full arena. A lot of people left early. Like a lot of people left early.
But I actually I was just getting on the elevator when the final horn went off because the seats where I was at were legit on the other side of the arena from where the elevator was. So in the last minute, I waited for a stoppage, walked over to the elevator, watched the last few seconds, and then luckily I heard the bing of the elevator that was going down, and I'm like, all right, I'm hopping on. And then as the doors were closing, I heard the horn go off. I mean, I knew they were going to win at that point, but obviously I don't like to leave early. But it was a little bit of a task getting up to that Revolutionary Row. So, but yeah, it was a good game.
Brian Elliott looked
2-0 so far for us.
Yeah, not a big
deal. Another night when we got free waffle fries from Chick-fil-A, no free ads, but I have yet to take advantage of it. I don't.
Neither have I. That just shows that we are the Flyers' good luck charm.
I get more
every game we go to, they are going to win and earn waffle fries for all the fans. So Philadelphia, you're welcome.
I'm still bummed out that they're not doing the chicken biscuits anymore.
Yeah, the chicken biscuits were bad.
I felt like I was just heartbroken when I saw that at the home opener that it was waffle fries instead of the chicken biscuit because they were good, and I actually bought that every so often. But yeah, I mean, overall, Monday's game was a big positive. Tomorrow's game is going to be, again, one of those tests where in a short span of time, they're going to have to put together another full 60-minute effort. And with the way that Chicago has been the last couple of years, you almost don't want to play down to them because they've been kind of on the downtrend with guys like Kane and Taze, Keith.
DeBrincat.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are obviously still really good, but those older guys, the vets, are getting older, and they don't have too much of an abundance of young talents. They have DeBrincat. I know that.
DeBrincat, Strome, Kirby Dach, who's their first-round pick, 3rd overall, I believe,
that's
summer.
Right. He scored last night, right?
They've got Adam Boquist right now with the Rockford Ice Dogs.
Yeah.
He's kind of might be one of their future star defensemen.
So all right. So I'll take that back that they don't have young talent. I guess they're more in of a transition period of
they're very much in a transitional.
They go from here.
They're like a transitional restock. I don't think they're in a rebuild.
Yeah, I don't think they need to rebuild.
I mean, when you have Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane still being elite forwards in this league, and you can add in DeBrincat, who's now a 40-goal scorer, who every team in the NHL passed on in the first round, cough Flyers. And then you can add in a Dylan Strome from Arizona, who needed a change of scenery because he was a 2nd overall pick, I believe. He went number 2 after McDavid, right?
Who?
Strome. He went 2 or 3 after McDavid.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think who went after McDavid.
That's a good question.
Trivia. I'm gonna look it up quick.
All right, yeah, because I know Strom and McDavid were teammates with the Erie Otters, but Strom's got some skill, and the Blackhawks are to be looked over. But based on their record and how they played this year, this should be a win for the Flyers, especially if they play the way they played, and especially if Brian Elliott, which all signs point toward, Matt, is going to be the starter tomorrow night.
Oh,
And
well, this was easy. Sorry to interrupt.
that's all good.
Jack Eichel went
Uh,
second.
Eichel, McDavid, then Strom, right?
Yes. No. McDavid, Eichel,
Oh
Strome.
yeah, McDavid.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I can't believe we missed that.
Yeah, it's what it is. But
Clerical error.
yes, our minds are just so full of hockey knowledge. Sometimes the minor things slip through. Um, but going back to my point though about Brian Elliott, played well on that Western. Even the Flyers lost. Played well in Calgary. Played well in relief to Edmonton, and then played really well Monday night against Vegas. Like even though it was a 6-2 final, for a while there, Vegas their scoring chances were A+.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I don't think there was a single game I went to last year when the Wells Fargo Center was cheering Moose
Mm-hmm.
and giving him standing ovations.
Yeah. He played really well that game. I
He
wouldn't be
played.
surprised if he starts tomorrow.
According to the beats, he was in the starter's net in practice today, and why not?
Yeah.
He's
I might as well. You might ride the hot hand.
It's a goalie tandem.
Yep.
You're gonna ride one goalie while they're hot, and then they get cold. You go back to the other one.
Yeah.
Carter Hart's 21 years old. Yes, it's still his net, but
He's got a lot of time.
I'm seeing a lot of chatter on Twitter that was started by a certain beat writer who I'm not a big fan of Sam Chariti, who already said goalie controversy, and the fan base has now, or at least the Flyers Twitter has started to roll with that. And now people are up in arms over Brian Elliott starting tomorrow night. I'd rather give Carter Hart the rest to watch another game and then have Carter Hart come back and beat the Columbus Blue Jackets at home Saturday, a team that they should beat easily, very well. But it's a goalie tandem. I thought at the end of the day, again, this is where the PTSD comes into from the previous era, because now people are saying, oh, they're gonna play Elliott till he gets hurt again, and he's gonna miss 3 months, and then we're gonna have Alex Lyon up here. Same thing as last year.
Yep.
Like nothing happens till it happens. Like again, we need to touch on what we both already said on this podcast earlier this season. Enjoy the on ice product. Overall, besides the stinker against Dallas and Edmonton and Calgary, the other half of the season's been good hockey and fun hockey to watch.
Yeah.
Like it's October 23rd recording right now. They currently sit at 500 and they're in the and the only reason why they're lower in the division standings is because they've barely played hockey because of the crazy schedule the league gave them.
Yeah, and one thing too that I want to mention, my friend that I was tailgating with on Monday, I want to believe what he said is accurate. I don't know where he read it, but he told me that apparently Vigneault's first season with Vancouver and also the Rangers, when he took them to the Stanley Cup final, through the first 15 games of both of those seasons, he was 500. So there's no sense in even looking at the panic button right now, let alone panicking at all, because like you said, we're literally 3 weeks into the season. We're not even a month into the season yet, and you got people talking about goalie controversies. They lose one game, and everyone's like, "Oh, like it's last season all over again." Like, calm down. Like,
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, it's one of those. I don't know if they're memes or what. It's like it's one of those keep calm and carry on things where it's basically keep calm and wait until the season actually unfolds somewhat before you draw any conclusions or overreact. But then again, I mean, everyone is gonna have their own opinions about every game and stuff like that. So to each their own, I guess. But
Yeah,
I think That's really all that can be said about that for now.
It's crazy. Right now, they're 7 games played. They're 3-3-1 with 7 points. They're 3 points behind Columbus, who somehow is 4-3-2, but they've only played 7 games.
Yeah,
Every other team in the division's played. Washington's played 11 games. Carolina's played 9. Pittsburgh's played 10. Islanders have played 8. Columbus has played 9. New Jersey has played 8, and the Rangers have played 7. Like, yeah, they're far behind the Capitals because the Capitals are 7-2. But look at the Capitals roster. I mean, Ovechkin, duh. Um, and Carolina's been surprised. I knew Carolina was probably going to be good this year. I didn't know they were going to be that good. And
yeah. But
then
again, it's early.
yeah, exactly. It's
It's not
still
how you
early.
start; it's how you finish.
Exactly, and
The age-old cliche.
their goal differential is at 0,
Yeah,
which I mean, it could be worse. You could be like New Jersey and be a -12, or Columbus at -7, or the
yeah,
Rangers at -6. Like they're 3-1 on home ice, and they're 0-2-1 on the road. Like, and they've only lost in one shutout. So like they're fine. It's October 23rd, and they're 500. Like,
yeah,
at this point last year, they were probably a less than 500 record and were really bad.
yeah,
So, I mean, overall, I mean, going into tomorrow night's games, you can't take the Chicago Blackhawks lightly. But you're fully expecting with how this team played, if they can take the momentum off of Monday night's victory against Vegas, and they had a good practice the past, today and yesterday, and go into Chicago and play well, they should beat the Blackhawks. They already know what to expect. They beat them over in Prague.
yep, yeah. Same team, different place.
Exactly. Maybe a different goalie in that. Robin Lehner's played better than Corey Crawford for the Blackhawks, which I think we all kind of saw coming, just because I would say at this point in their careers, Robin Lehner is a better goalie than Corey Crawford. But they still have Patrick Kane. So you never know what's going to happen, but it should be hopefully a good, fun, exciting hockey game. And then they come home this weekend for a back-to-back. Home against the Blue Jackets, then away at the Islanders, and then they go on another road trip. And Tuesday night, the 29th, we get our first Battle of Pennsylvania against the Penguins in Pittsburgh. So this is a crucial, these are you've got, after the Chicago game, you've got 3 divisional games. I mean, you win 2 of those 3, you're definitely climbing up into the upper echelon spots in the division. But again, it's October. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy hockey. Like, just be happy it's back and they're playing somewhat well.
Yep.
So, Matt, do you have anything to add about any of the upcoming games at all?
I do not. I think you said it very well.
I didn't mean to hog the mic there.
It's all good. I mean, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and make any predictions. I'm just going to let things play out and then go from there. But I think with that being said, it's time to take her around the league, if you're all right with that.
By all means, take us around.
All right, so I'll touch on tonight's games, and then I have one game that is notable for this weekend, aside from the Flyers. And actually, so just stick with me here. So there's only 2 games tonight. Both are in progress. We have the Red Wings against the Senators. The Senators are up 1-0. The first period's about to end.
That's the battle of the upcoming draft lottery.
Yep. And then we have the Penguins and the Lightning on NBCSN's Wednesday Night Hockey. No free ads, but so a cool thing though is that I just saw this on Twitter, which is actually really cool. The Lightning, the game's in Tampa. The Lightning are honoring the 46th living Congressional Medal of Honor recipients at tonight's games.
That's cool.
So that's pretty special. I think this is gonna sound really dumb of me, but I'm pretty sure isn't the Medal of Honor the highest award you can get in the Army, or not the Army, just I guess in the armed forces?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. I thought so.
Like, but, it's given to you by the president.
Yeah.
At the White House.
But a special night in Tampa. Shout out to all the troops. Thank you for what you do, America. But that's pretty cool that they're doing that. And then a noteworthy game actually this weekend, Saturday night. Excuse me. Saturday night is the Heritage Classic in I believe. Hold on a second, I have it right here. So the Heritage Classic is basically Canada's exclusive winter classic. Two Canadian teams playing in an open air or outdoor stadium. Same thing as the Winter Classic, obviously in the States. But this year, the Winnipeg Jets and Calgary Flames are taking it outside at Mosaic Stadium, which is home to the Saskatchewan Roughriders of the Canadian Football League, the CFL.
Ooh, we have
So,
a longer field, an extra man. Go football.
but yeah, so the game is in the stadium itself is in Regina, Saskatchewan.
One of
But
the
like I said,
best Canadian town names ever.
yep. Um, but yeah, that should be good. Both teams are going to be wearing some great throwback uniforms.
Matt,
Um,
you already know how I feel about Winnipeg's throwback unis.
yeah, all right. We don't need to touch on that.
But Calgary's fire.
But
No
I
pun
mean, all
intended.
right. Regardless of past organizations, the Jets uniforms are awesome, and
They
same
are. They
with the
are.
Flames. So that's a game to watch. Let me just pull up the TV info here. So that game is actually at 10 o'clock Eastern time on NBCSN. So if you're drinking responsibly on a Saturday night and want to watch some good hockey, I recommend that game.
I'll be in
Um,
Virginia.
you'll be in Virginia?
Yeah, Virginia
Uh,
for a wedding this weekend.
nice.
Partied it up.
Ask if they have the game on.
I don't know if the wedding's gonna be going that late. I honestly have no idea.
Oh, all right. But yeah, that's really all I got for around the league. Like I said, there's not much going on tonight. Obviously, the Flyers play tomorrow, and then they have their weekend back to back. So that's all I got for that. I guess maybe just to touch on a couple things. I guess a notable injury, which obviously we don't root for, but it was announced today that Mikko Rantanen is week to week with a lower body injury,
Did
which
you see
is
Did you see the video, Matt?
I did not.
I'm surprised he's week to week. He tweaked his leg real bad falling down. Not pretty.
So we wish him a speedy recovery, as we
Yes.
do with anyone who's injured. But that's really the only thing I got for that. So
Yeah.
that was around the league, sponsored by no one.
Sponsored by no one. We need to work on this sponsor. We gotta figure that out. We gotta figure that out. But yeah, no, good stuff, Matt. Good stuff to pay attention and watch. Obviously, like we did mention, big couple of games come up here with the Flyers, especially after Chicago. We got that weekend and early week divisional matchups, and then of course going in to the rest of next week, Friday night, November 1st. Crazy November Halloween is upon us next week already. They play the Devils for November 1st up at the Rock in good old a lovely, just gorgeous, crime-free city of Newark, New Jersey. I hope everyone noted the sarcasm there. And then back home the next night they play the Toronto Maple Leafs. So big games coming up. Hopefully we'll see some good actions. Maybe we'll see Joel Farabee get his first goal. Another thing, Master, we were there for. We were in attendance for Carter Hart's debut, Carter Hart's first shutout, and in attendance of Joel Farabee's debut. And what do all three of those things have in common? The Flyers won all three games. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, Matt, that might wrap it up for this evening. What do you think, unless you got anything else to add real quick?
That's a 10-4 to me. I agree.
10-4. Well, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, let's go Flyers.